So one of the most important things to do before playing PvP is pretty obvious. It's learning what your class does. You may think you've got a good handle on your class if you're leveling it, but a lot of classes have more than meets the eye. So the first thing you should do sounds pretty obvious, but you should read all of your abilities. Some effects that are pretty important that you might not know about at first glance. Once you've got a good idea on what all of your abilities do, you should check out a guide relating to your class. Now, some of these aren't the best. They don't really go over your playstyle or your win conditions or specific uses of abilities or anything like that. They usually just have the best talents, stats, legendaries, things like that. It's a good way to figure out the basics for your class. Some also have a rotation guide, which can be very helpful. I linked quite a few down below, but if I missed your class, just look for it on YouTube. You should be able to find it. If not, post a comment. I'll try to find you one ASAP. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, the next most important thing to figure out is your rotation. Every class has some sort of rotation. Even healers have healing rotations. Now in PvP, most of these are subject to change depending on what's happening, but it's still a good idea to figure out what your optimal healing or damage rotations are. Once again, the best way to figure these out are guys on YouTube, or we're going to be talking about next, finding someone incredibly good at your class and learning from them. This is the best way to actually learn about your class. Now for the most part, I actually don't recommend checking out the best players in the game if you are super new, but maybe check someone around Glad or 2700. Their gameplay will, for the most part, be a lot more streamlined and basic and easier for you to follow. Then, once you get better and have a decent understanding of the game, you can start to learn from the best players. What you're looking to learn from watching these players is general rotation, how they use defensives, how they set up CC, and how they secure kills. If you get a general idea on all of these things, you should get a decent idea of how your class plays. Now lastly, and probably the most important thing when learning your class, is to play the game. When learning your rotation and things like that, training dummies are honestly super helpful. Then, eventually get into actually playing PvP, play some BGs or arenas, just keep grinding. Eventually, if you continue to play and watch high rated gameplay, you will improve. Oh, and one last tip, if you really want to improve, you should record and watch your gameplay. Sometimes watching what you do after the fact helps you notice the mistakes that you're making and allows you to fix them and improve faster than you would just by playing the game. Now I know I can't be super helpful on this topic since I can't teach everyone how to play every class, but if you use the tips I mentioned, you should definitely improve. Oh, and one last tidbit, don't blame your teammates. They may be bad, but just focus on yourself. If all you do all day is complain about playing with bad people, you will never improve yourself. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments down below. I'll be sure to answer them. Peace!